Rattle on the track, boy.
First of all, hold on. First of all, this is what we're gonna do. It's the Dynasty Show, guys. All right, who we got? We got Mr. Zach.
What up? That's me. I'm
Zach.
What's good? What's good?
And Mr. We call him. I think he looks like Macaulay Culkin, but Mr. E. What's up, buddy? All right, guys.
What's up, guys?
All right, so it's the 22 final.
So yeah, we're here to talk about the 2022 NBA Finals.
And which one we talking?
E, we start with you. E. We start with you.
There's a lot of good teams. So who wants to start this one off?
I'm going Phoenix versus Philly.
Okay.
I'm saying Phoenix versus Philly. I'm saying Phoenix wins it all. I think Phoenix got their experience last year. I think Devin Booker doesn't get enough credit. I think Devin Booker is an elite level player. He is rated out of the shooting guard position to be the most clutch. We're talking about a McCall Bridges, who is now a top 3 contender for Defensive Player of the Year. Cam Johnson has turned into a lights out shooter. Cameron Payne is getting so much experience and excelling with Chris Paul out. Chris Paul is going to come into the playoffs healthy. DeAndre Ayton has become more of a post player. We added depth with Torrey Craig. Frank Kaminsky and Dario Saric will be back for the playoffs. I don't see any team beating us. We're the best. We're the best road team in the league, and we're the best. And we're the best team in the fourth quarter in the entire league.
I mean, the only team that I could see in the West that has a shot at beating Phoenix is Golden State. That's the only team I can see in the West that has a shot at beating Phoenix. I think Phoenix is so far ahead.
If the play,
you know.
But Zach, don't you mean that the other way around?
What?
Don't you mean that the other way around?
No, I mean, I have my finals prediction is I have Golden State coming out of the West, and I got fucking. It's tough because I have like 3 teams that I think could come out of the East.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if I'm out the West, I'm gonna tell you who comes out the East, and they're gonna win it all against anybody.
If you say Brooklyn, I'm gonna smack you.
Okay. Kyrie can't play Kyrie can't play any home games.
What happens? Yeah, exactly. What happens if? Okay, so what happens if Brooklyn's first round matchup, which it's looking like it's going to be, is Toronto? Kyrie can't go to Canada.
Yeah. Oh, what if Kyrie can't play an entire round?
Yeah. But we're gonna. We say all this, guys. We're saying all this, guys, but we all know that the mandate is going to be lifted, of course.
At some
point,
we all
know that by the time the playoffs start, Kyrie will be playing at home.
Like I said,
I don't think they need. To be honest with you, I don't think they need Kyrie anyway. If they do go to Toronto,
they don't wonder why they don't need Kyrie. They don't. Durant, the second best player on the planet, if not the first best player on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie's definitely they're definitely good. They're one of the 3 teams in the East that I have coming out of the East. The 3 teams that I have that I think can win the East are Miami, Boston, and Brooklyn. I think those are the 3 teams that have the best shot of winning the Eastern Conference.
Boston to me, Boston is too young. Boston don't have a shot to me. We're skipping over the champ. How are you going to skip over the
You're skipping over the Celtics. Wait. Hold on. You're skipping to the Celtics, who have gone to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 of the last 3 years, who had a second round exit last year.
Let me ask you this question: How are we just going to skip over the Bucks? They have the reigning Finals MVP, and they are
because without
Miami
Giannis,
and Boston.
Yeah, because without Giannis, the Bucks are a lottery team.
You believe? No, actually, by stats, the Bucks actually play better with Giannis out. Drew Middleton and Chris Middleton both have a higher efficiency rating with Giannis out of the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
I still think they're a lottery team without Giannis, but
All
that's
right,
just
guys.
me.
Before we move on, I'm gonna tell you guys I like Golden State, Zach. I like Golden State. That was my choice out of the West. Because I feel like now that with Clay coming back, with
Clay
Draymond coming
healthy,
back,
Draymond
yeah,
healthy,
Draymond coming
Wiseman
back,
healthy
those
now.
guys. I like
Yeah, but
Phoenix.
see, but with Golden State, as of right now, their projected first round is going to be against a Utah team who is fighting tooth and nail. And once playoff time comes back, they're going to be a team that now has Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back in their lineup. You want to play
That's
that
Denver.
in the 6th seed?
That's Denver.
Oh,
You said
I'm sorry.
Utah.
I don't know. I don't know
Yo,
why
you
I'm
said,
talking.
hang on.
I don't know why I'm talking. I thought he said he said Denver.
You were naming Denver players. You're like, yeah, Utah, naming Denver players.
I was all on the Phoenix train last year. I really was.
Oh yeah, me too. I was yelling Suns
Booker
and 4
disappointed
everywhere
me.
I went. I was like Suns and 4 everywhere I went.
Listen,
I personally do not.
As they have this one guy on their team named Chris Paul.
If you
I
look
just
at,
want to see Chris Paul get that ring. That's really all I want.
If you look at
There's
Chris
not
Paul,
a more deserving player in the NBA than Chris Paul to get a ring.
If you look at
absolutely, there's no
Paul,
player more that deserves a ring more than Chris Paul.
Chris Paul can't earn a ring. His
The
injury
NBA won't let him.
We saw what he did in the was a bad play.
All right, guys. I think we're going a little into another subject. All right, guys, let's get back on track. Where we going next?
It's what are we talking about next? Talking about
the start.
Oh, is it who's gonna bench cut Jordan, Kobe, Bird? In my opinion, there's only one real answer to this.
Start
if you ask me.
Jordan, Kobe, Bird. This is interesting.
I think there's only one true answer, and it's you start Jordan, you bench Kobe, and you cut Larry Bird. Not that Larry Bird.
Whoa.
Oh, okay, here comes the Boston guy.
Bird's name,
here comes the Boston guy. You're choosing.
I'm just saying,
Bird over
Bird. I don't know. That's tough because I don't know. I mean, Bird is one of the best of all time, like one of the greatest shooters to ever play the game. Not to mention his level of shit talk was like next. He would go out and he would tell people, "Hey, I'm gonna Euro step. I'm gonna Euro step here, put the ball behind my back, and then dunk it." And he would. Like Bird would basically dare people to stop him. He'd be like, "This is what I'm gonna do. Come stop me." You know.
Yeah,
part of Bird's greatness.
Start, bench, cut. Oh, this is tough. This is a tough one, but I think you got to start Jordan here. Like, I just think I think you got to start Jordan. I love Kobe and I love Bird. The Boston in me wants to say Bird because we hate the Lakers, but I got to go with my head and got to say bench Kobe.
Yeah.
You know,
there's only
no. Wait, hold on. Time out. No. I agree with you, E. You start Jordan, you bench Bird, and you cut Kobe.
No, he said cut Kobe. He said start Jordan, bench Kobe, cut Bird.
Oh, you say cut Bird?
That's what he said. Yeah, and I said the same thing. Start Jordan, bench Kobe, cut Bird.
You bench Kobe. You start Jordan.
I have to disagree with you. See, I'm an old head.
Me too. I love Kobe. I love Bird.
I've seen Jordan in action, and I've also seen Kobe in action. And Bird was on another level during his time. Like he really was. And
three of them were.
As far as shooting the three, I'm talking about he had the handle, he had the pass.
The Hicks himself,
listen, Kobe was great, but I feel like Kobe is always going to be under the shadow of Jordan. and Shaq because he had Shaq.
And I also feel like no one had Kobe in their top five.
Because he tried to mimic his game after Jordan. So I feel like he's always going to be under the Jordan shadow.
He's a different style player than Jordan, though.
Me personally, I have to put Bird. I will have to put Bird. Go ahead, Javon. What you say? What you say, Javon?
I have to disagree with all of you, man. Because if we're talking about right now in the NBA right now, who would be the best?
We're talking about start, bench, or cut between Jordan, Kobe, or Bird.
We're talking about it.
I'm cutting Bird. I'm cutting Bird.
Yes, it's the only option.
Comparison with Bird, and
it's not the only option. Just I give the slight edge, like I said, like the Boston V hates.
I got to school you young fellas.
No, but hear me out. Why I start Kobe? It's only one reason. He's the most player to play. Why am I?
He's what?
For this era of the NBA, we're probably playing right now. Kobe Bryant experienced that. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, they didn't. When they were playing, the 3-point line wasn't being utilized as much. They weren't as great shooters from the 3-point as they should be.
Bird is the best shooter out of all the three.
Larry Bird got a rule made for him because he shot it from behind the bucket and it went in, and that's now known as the Bird rule.
Exactly.
But hear me out. The pace in the game is different. Everything of the game is different. The game evolves over time.
We're not talking. Right.
This is actually a good debate, but that we might have to do in another episode. But like I personally think that the game now is actually better than it was back then. And I think a lot of those old heads talking shit, I think half of them wouldn't even make it in today's NBA.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, listen, I feel like Bird will be one of them that could make it in the.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because he can do it all. He can do it all.
But guys who talk shit like Charles Oakley, who's like, oh, it's not as physical. Like, shut up, Charles Oakley. You'd be in the G League today. You know, you wouldn't even sniff an NBA roster. Charles Oakley.
He was an enforcer, man. But yeah, Kobe is great. I was never a fan of Kobe, but I appreciate Kobe's greatness after the fact because he was great. But
he was.
Listen, you can't bench Bird is an OG. Bird was one of the originators of the NBA. You know what I mean? You can't. I don't see how you can cut Bird.
Bird walked so Curry could run.
Okay. All right. Now let's transition from there. Let's transition into the all-time top 10 because on my list I do have Kobe over Bird.
That tells me a lot right there. I'm just saying.
I will say this before we go into any of this. Before Kobe died, no one had Kobe.
No one had him. No, he's not. He was not a top 5 player on anybody's list before he died.
Before he died, no one had Kobe in their top 5. I will just say
Jason Williams, who is actually one of my guys on my top 10.
Wait, white chocolate?
Yeah. In high school, I tried to do that elbow pass all the time. But Jason Williams went on a post and said that he doesn't think Kobe's a top 10 player. He doesn't think Kobe's a top 5 player of all time, and he doesn't even think he's a top 5 player in Lakers history.
I mean, I can see the case for that.
Guys, that's a different conversation.
I mean, I've seen Kobe play live. I've seen Kobe play live, and outside of LeBron James, Kobe Bryant was the most dominant player I've seen in live NBA basketball. Outside of LeBron James, was just fucking next level.
So E, let's start with E. So E, what's your top 10? Starting with number 10. Just run it off.
Starting with number 10. Let's see.
Just run it off for us real quick.
I don't really have an order besides I know who number 1 is. On my list, it has to definitely be Jason Williams. White chocolate. I think I like players who just go out there and have fun with the game. Jason Williams just could do anything. Like that man, he was extremely underrated. who else would be on my list? Larry Bird is on my list. I'm a huge fan of Larry Bird. I wore number 33 through all of high school because of Larry Bird. Jason Tatum, he's on my list too, but that's more personally because I live 10 minutes down the road from where he went to high school. Like I watched Jason Tatum come up through high school, so that's always been cool. Let's see. I'm a big what? Kareem?
I say Magic, Kareem.
Nah, man. Like I appreciate all those guys, but like I don't know. I like the players that I got to see. Like I like players that created like nostalgia for me. Like I see Kobe play. I watched that Kobe 60-point last game. Like that was huge for me. Kobe. I have Kobe's handwriting tattooed on my arm. Like, like I don't know. I feel like it's just all the players that like I try to like play like when I go out and play. Stephen Curry, man. I mean, the man pioneered the game. I mean, the guy changed the game single-handedly forever. I mean, he's probably single-handedly made the center position almost obsolete for a few years. You know, it's kind of come back, but I mean, we didn't need it. Man, I can't even think. I really should have prepared and wrote some stuff down, but Devin Booker. I mean, that's
Booker
my guy.
I knew Booker was on.
And I can understand E.
Booker is number one out of everybody that Booker is number one for me. Completely, always will be, 100%.
So you're just biased, basically.
I wouldn't call it bias, man. I think everybody when we're having this under 25 debate, right? Everybody's like Tatum, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, you know. But like, if you look at Booker, bro, that man is right there, if not at the same caliber. Booker is right there. He's the youngest player in NBA history.
All right. So then let me ask you this. If I offer you Devin Booker straight up for Jason Tatum, are you accepting?
Yeah.
Only because you're a fan.
I give you Jason. I think out of the 25-year-olds, Tatum has shown that he can be I think out of the 25 and under people, I think Jason Tatum has shown he could be the best out of them all. And I think he's shown that he could be the worst out of them all.
Let me explain my take with Booker, because I was all in with Phoenix last year. I was rooting for them. I was actually rooting for Devin Booker. But to me, he didn't like you say, Kobe. Kobe had just had that killer instinct that he would just take over, like just give me the damn ball, right?
Booker doesn't.
I didn't see that. I didn't see it from Booker. I did not see it from Booker.
Booker's a top 5 clutch player in the league right now. He's the youngest player in history.
Booker can't put a game away when needed.
Exactly. I'm talking about just flat out give me the damn ball. When they needed, I felt like when they needed him to take the game over, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
I agree with that from what I saw last year.
He didn't do it.
But
is Tatum doing that?
Right now, actually, yeah, he has been. If you've watched Tatum these last fucking 20 games, Tatum's a big reason why the Celtics went from a play-in team to the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. Right now, on the verge of the 4th. A lot of that's Jason Tatum.
I think we're getting a little bit.
But we need to go back. We need to go back to the topic at hand. Yeah, everyone's all time.
I can understand. You're young, so I can understand all the young guys you're putting in your top 10. But like I said, I'm an old head. I've watched the old and I watched the young guys, and I'll give you my top 10. I got Jordan number 1. I got LeBron number 2. I got Kareem. I got Magic. I got Kobe. At number 5, I got Bird, Allen Iverson, Shaq, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Durant.
Wow,
That's my top
Will. 10. All right. This is my top 10. I'll go from 10.
Hey,
I'll go from 10.
I thought about Will.
I
thought about Will.
I'll go from 10 to 1 in my top 10. So number 10.
I'm gonna have to hit you. I'll have to hear about this all later. I gotta go though.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll see you.
All right.
Later on.
I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
So my top 10 from 10 to 1, starting at 10. Number 10, all time, Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. Ooh.
He was no, hear me out, because he's one of the most dominant defensive players. The man may get you 2 points a night, but he's going to get you fucking 57 rebounds. And he's going to create with his rebounding numbers and his defensive presence and his basketball IQ. He's going to create extra shots and extra possessions for your team, which is huge in the NBA. That's such an underrated aspect of Rodman's game. And that's why I put him at 10. And then at 9, I would put Dr. J, just because he was just so dominant during that time period. Like, I don't know. I think you have to have Julius Erving somewhere on every top 10 list. I don't know. 7, I'm going to put Will. I'm going to put Will to 7. Again, he's another guy like Julius Erving that was just so dominant during the time they played. You can't deny their greatness. 7. So here's where people might get a little tricky. So it's 7. So it's 6 all time for me. Number 6, the number 6 all time player on my board in NBA history is Larry Bird. I would put Larry Bird at 6. Just because he's got the Bird rule. He was a shooter before shooting became prominent. Not to mention the rivalries he had with Magic, which transitions me to my next pick at 5. I put Magic Johnson. Just like the rivalries that they had. At 4, this is going to shock a lot of people, but at 4, I'm going to put Michael Jordan. Yes, you heard me out. I'm gonna put Jordan at 4.
Yeah. You smoking some good shit.
Hear me out. Jordan.
I will say you smoking some good shit, but go ahead.
I do smoke the good weed, but I put Jordan at 4 only because Jordan, to me, like, yes, he has 6 rings, but without Pippen, I think Pippen was a big catalyst to that. And Rodman, for sure, they don't get those last 3 without Rodman. I'm sorry, they don't beat the Seahawks, the Sonics. They don't beat the Jazz in the finals without Dennis Rodman. I think Jordan of all the all-time greats benefited the most from the team he was on. And I think people sleep on how good those 90s Bulls teams were. Those were in-house built super teams. Like, you're right. Those were super teams before super teams were a thing, and it was built in-house. And I think Jordan is the biggest beneficiary of team. And I think you put Jordan on a team by himself without Pippen and Rodman. Is he everyone's unanimous one? I don't think so. I really don't. Yeah. If you take away those guys and you take him off those Bulls team, let's say you go put him on what was a bad team in the 90s. Let's say you go put him on Charlotte. Is he going to go win 6 championships on Charlotte? Probably not.
No, he's not going to win the championship.
That's what I'm saying.
But I guarantee you, he opens up some eyes like LeBron and maybe goes to 6-10 finals in a row with a bad team.
But so I had Jordan at 4. At 3, I put Shaq. Shaq was just so dominant. Just one of the most dominant, not just centers, but basketball players all time. Like, Shaq's dominance.
Where I put him.
Just the things Shaq was able to do on a court, like, especially at his size, you're just like, whoa, like, this man's doing it. At 2, I got Kareem. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. To me, Kareem is overall, he's probably the best overall player that's ever played the game of basketball. To me, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But at number 1, I put LeBron. At number 1 all time. I'm sorry, I'm a LeBroner. I love it. I've watched Jordan play. I've watched LeBron play. To me, LeBron is better than Jordan in every way, shape, and form. To me.
All right, Javon. Before you go, I got 2 things. The reason I don't got Shaq as high is because you're right. He was the most dominant. But I felt like the year that they got swept in the finals, that shouldn't have happened.
Which finals? When he was with the
When
Lakers or with the
lost
Magic?
to the Rockets. When they lost to the Rockets.
When he was with the Magic?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you got to look at that Magic team.
I felt like for him to be that dominant and the team that they had, they should at least I thought they should have won because I was a big Penny fan. That was my guy. I was never a Jordan fan. This transitions to the second point. I was never a Jordan fan. I'm a LeBron fan, definitely. But I seen both. LeBron is a better all around talent, but Jordan just had that he's just going to put the whole team on his back and score 80 if he got to. You know, LeBron is pass first. Jordan was just a killer score like Allen Iverson was. Go ahead, Javon.
All right. Well, I just want to let y'all know this is coming from a 20-year-old. I was born in 2001, so I didn't watch a lot of these guys growing up. But I keep the argument saying I watch highlights, I read reports, I know my.
Hang on. Before you start, I have one honorable mention to my top 10 list too. Pistol Pete Maravich. He's an honorable mention. He was someone I was debating with putting on the list, but I had him at like 11. So
you ever talking about favorite on my top 5?
Pre-drag.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna start from my bottom.
Okay. So from 10 to 1.
I have Kevin Durant because you can't deny that Kevin Durant is great.
He's arguably the greatest scorer of all time.
He wouldn't have rings without Curry and the Warriors, but when he was he was here. Saw LeBron James didn't fold, and we saw what happened. LeBron James was probably the best player on the court in the series, but Kevin Durant was damn near perfect, which led the Warriors to winning 2 rings with Kevin Durant.
Absolutely.
But he ain't winning. He ain't winning without that team, though. I'm sorry. I like Durant. He's not winning because the reason. Listen, my knock on KD is the series when they lost, when they were up 3-1,
and they lost,
and they let Golden State come back. That's my knock. That's my knock on him.
You're right, but when he wins with Brooklyn this year and next year, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. He right is wrong, in my opinion. And then for my number 9, I have Bill Russell because he's a great player. He does everything your team needs to do to win.
You can argue that. Say Bill?
As a player,
Bill Russell. Okay.
Bill Russell, but yeah, his defensive effort, his defensive efficiency, everything he does for that team defensively and offensively gave him 11 rings, 8 straight rings, 11 rings in 13 years. That's
coming from a Celtics fan, though. Those Celtics teams in the 50s and 60s were fucking stacked. I mean, the Celtics, if you go look at the NBA stats from 1960 to 1969, the Celtics won the NBA championship every single one of those years.
Stacked when they had Jerry West, Will Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor. You don't think that team was stacked?
Absolutely, but those Celtics teams in the 50s and 60s were far more stacked than those Lakers teams were.
For sure.
But yeah, go ahead, continue.
I have to reward the man for doing his thing.
Absolutely. He was a big part of those Celtics championships teams. He was a big part of those championships.
And then for my number 8, I have Larry Bird. He's everything. His name's Larry Legend. His name speaks for itself. He did what he had. He is co-signing the reason why the NBA still exists today. Because there was a time where they were going to shut down the NBA, but him and Magic came in. They brought back the media, which gave the NBA back its money and let them to. He also won 3 rings as a Celtic.
Yeah, he won 3.
Very convincing too. Against Magic Johnson.
He won 3 rings, and 2 of those rings came against Magic.
Were against Magic. Yeah. That's crazy. Really think about it. That means he went in there, saw Magic every time, and outdueled him.
Yeah, I mean, in college though, Magic had the upper hand. College Magic won the championships, but their rivalry went all the way back to college. The Magic Bird rivalry went back to Michigan State, Indiana State. You know.
Yeah.
But anyways, continue. Who do you have at 7?
My number 7 is Shaq. Like you said, that man was he was a monster. He was an offensive monster, unstoppable, dominant. Everything that involves that word, that's Shaq. They literally changed the rule. I think it's the 5 seconds, 3 seconds back to basket rule. where he couldn't be in the because he was so good.
Yeah.
Glass. He made them change their hardware for the glass.
Yeah.
He had the great coach like Greg Popovich had this team foul him and push Shaq on the line. The hack the shot rule. That was all because Shaq was a free throw shooter, but he was so dominant in the post that you want him to take those free throws.
Yeah.
Which we think that was his only weakness, but he still won 3 rings as the best player. The 4th ring was with Dwayne Wade, but he was still a damn near great player on that Heat team when he won.
Yeah.
You could argue that Shaq was the difference maker on that Heat team too.
Yeah, was. A lot of people don't see it, but he was. Dwayne Wade had a of his life, but his co-partner was Shaq for a reason.
Oh yeah. All right, so we got.
That's why Kobe. That's why Kobe is not as high as I think
Shaq,
he had Shaq.
Shaq even said his biggest mistake was not making it work with Kobe, because he's like, what could have been if him and I just put the bullshit aside and worked together? What could have been, you know?
Yeah, the ego. Yeah.
But who you got at 5 now?
Mm-hmm.
Give me your number. Your top 5 now.
No, number 6. Number 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. 6.
Johnson. He was a great player. Showtime Lakers it started and ended with Mike Johnson. I've never seen a fast court offense as great as Mike Johnson did. What he did on the court as a 6'9", 6'10" point guard who went in as a rookie, his first NBA Finals to win the series, had to play center because their best player was out. He had a guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was considered the best player in the league, say, I want this organization to be put in the hands of this young man. Kareem saw what a lot of people didn't see in him, and he went on to win 4 more rings. So I think that if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is on your team and he could say, I want this guy to be the lead on this team, to me, that says a lot for a player right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then top 5, I have to start with Kobe. I love Kobe growing up. I'm one of the people who, every time I shoot a trash paper into a trash bag, I say Kobe.
I used to do that too. I haven't done it since he died. It's not the same. It just doesn't hit the same since he died. I'm like Kobe, and then I'm like, oh yeah, he's dead. That's right.
Yeah, but yeah, Kobe, he's the reason why I got into basketball in the first place. I started playing basketball on my dad's old Xbox system. It was, I believe, the 2005 version, one of those. But Kobe was everything to me. He shot the ball well. He scored in the paint well. If you could argue his efficiency wasn't as great, but 5 rings to his name, why? There's nothing to change for him.
No, and I think Kobe would have been successful anywhere he was drafted. I think he would have had some form of success.
Finish him, but you honestly, what NBA player haven't mimicked their games against an NBA player they met or saw?
No, obviously. I think the NBA is the only team sport where one player can change the tide of your franchise.
Oh, yeah.
I think the NBA that's more so prominent than any other team sport.
Yeah.
And Kobe's one of those guys.
And I ain't trying to get off the subject, but that's, like I said, that's what categorizes a superstar and not, to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. All right, so who you got at 4?
Ooh, number 4. I have to put Tim Duncan at number 4.
Good pick.
That's my boy Timmy. Yeah, I can't argue.
My Celtics, we fucked that. We could have had Timmy too, but no, we took Billups instead. We took Chauncey instead of Duncan.
Not just because of Greg Popovich, was Tim Duncan. Before Tim came, Spurs were a good team, but they weren't a great team. He came in, him and Admiral, they won themselves the ring. When Admiral retired, Tim took over. And
that first year they did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
I remember that, yeah.
Anybody could say to this minute why Tim Duncan isn't a top 5 player all time. If we're talking off the records, he has it. When we talk about his playoff appearances, he has it.
People knock Duncan for stupid shit, like stupid reasons. They're like, he wasn't even the best player on his team. I'm like, tell me a best player on the Spurs during that time. I'm like, don't say Tony Parker. I'm like, don't say Manu. I'm like, the only person you could say during who Duncan played with on the Spurs who might be better than him is David Robinson. And that's a might. I would still put Duncan ahead of Robinson.
That the series they beat Miami. It was because nobody could stop Duncan.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at that series, Duncan dominated.
He was unstoppable.
Even at, yeah.
Chris Bosh didn't want to see him. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Then my number 3 is who? Yeah. People gonna hate me for this, but I have LeBron at number 3.
LeBron?
Top 3 for LeBron is where he should be.
So I'm interested at your number 2, 1 and 2 then.
And look at Carmelo on the scene is because how can you go to so many finals and not get done as much?
See,
MJ.
I think the final.
MJ.
I think finals knocking people because of finals. I think like I said, yes, one player in the NBA can change the tide of a franchise more so than any other sport, but it's still a team sport at the end of the day. Yeah. And I think you look at what LeBron did in Cleveland, even though they got dominated by the Spurs in his first finals appearance, he took a fucking G League team to the NBA finals.
And the only other person ever in NBA history to me to do it was Allen Iverson.
Yeah, Allen Iverson took a G League team to the finals too. I mean, what? The second best player on that Philly team was what? Eric Snow. Yeah, I wanted
Larry
AI. I wanted
Larry
AI
Hughes, and he was the sixth man. He came off the bench. Larry Hughes, but he came off the bench.
AI ran into Kobe in those finals. Ran into Kobe and Shaq, and he had no chance.
He took a game.
What's 1 and 2?
Huh?
What's 1 and 2?
Who's your 2 and 1?
What's 1 and 2?
Yep.
Kareem to his MJ.
One is Kareem to his MJ.
I don't hate MJ. A lot of people think I hate MJ. I don't hate MJ. Just watching Kareem and watching MJ, to me, it gets 2 different vibes.
Yeah.
Like he's one guy who created an unstoppable shot.
Yeah.
For me, that's the reason why I put Kareem over MJ. Because you could say you stopped MJ. You could say that. People out there can say, "Oh, I stopped MJ." The Pistons, the Bible Pistons, they stopped MJ. Larry Bird before
LeVar Ball stopped MJ. People forget that. LeVar Ball may not have been a better player than MJ, but LeVar Ball did lock down MJ on several occasions.
Yeah, but how many
people forget that?
Stop Kareem.
I wouldn't put LeVar ahead of MJ though, but I mean he got locked down by LeVar Ball. He got locked down. MJ, yes, he had his best. He had his best game against Gary Payton in that finals series, but for most of the career, Gary Payton was winning that series.
Did we watch The Last Dance? That was just a reminder of his greatness. He was just trying to remind the youth, the young people, this is how great I was.
Right. I watched it. I loved it.
I watched it. Yeah. And he was talking about, I have, and it's funny too, because I was watching that and I actually have a lot in common, with my leadership style with the same way Jordan does. I'm not this nice leader. No, I'm going to ridicule you. I'm going to fucking harass you. I'm going to ridicule you until you get better. Because to me, I feel no one gets better fucking it's okay. You tried your hardest. No, that's not how people get better. You need to be told you fucking suck.
Exactly.
You blew that play on us. You need to do this better. This is what you do. Yeah. And some people, the thing is as someone who has that leadership ability, and I'm sure Jordan knows this, it's the reaction from who you give it to. They're either gonna embrace it and thrive, or they're gonna shy away. And if they shy away from it, they're weak. And you're like, whatever, I don't need them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Kobe was the same way too. Kobe was the same way. I did like Kobe's scouting report though. It said for his cons, it said passing and liking his teammates. But yeah, and also you got Kareem at 1. Yeah, I think pretty much everyone has Kareem. Kareem, LeBron, Jordan seem to be the consensus top 3.
Yeah.
Not in any particular order, but those seem to be everyone's consensus top 3, and I kind of agree with that. I think those are the 3 best players to ever play the game of basketball. I mean, I put Jordan at 4, but like I said, he could easily go 3. I could flip flop Jordan and Shaq. But I think those are.
All right, fellas. The next topic. Was it Jalen Green? But I kind of want to make it the rookie.
I'll make it all rookie.
Let's make
the 2021 rookie class.
Yeah, let's do the rookies and who do we think out of this rookie class
Is going to be
um is gonna be the best when it's all said and done.
okay. That's easy for me.
So who do you think?
I think it's going to be Cade. I think it's either going to be one or two rookies from this class. I think it's going to be Cade. Or I think it's going to be Evan Mobley. I think those two players from this rookie class, I think, are going to separate. Maybe not this year, but I think over the next two to three seasons, you're going to see them separate themselves from the rest of this class. I think Jalen Green is going to be part of that group too, but I got to give the edge right now. If I had to pick the best, I'd probably give the edge to Mobley over Cade, but I'm going to go Mobley, Cade, Green, like for the best for this class.
Okay, Javon, I'm gonna go last. Javon, you go.
For me, I love Evan Mobley. I love this game. The moment he entered the NBA, he proved himself to be a defensive, because a lot of big men coming into the league early, they struggle on defense because the physicality is too much for them. Evan Mobley didn't.
He thrived. Evan Mobley actually did a lot better at that than people thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
Because that was a big knock on his game was how is he going to transition to the NBA? He's thriving.
So you say Evan Mobley.
Honestly, Evan Mobley. I would put Mobley will be the best of this class. Mobley, Cade, then Green. Yeah, that's how I would go.
You would go Mobley 1.
I would go Mobley 1, Cade 2, Green 3.
But to your
what?
Cade is great. Cade is great.
No, Javon, you would go Mobley 1?
I'll go Mobley 1.
Yeah, dude. Evan Mobley is. I don't think you realize, like, Evan Mobley is one of the best big man prospects in a long time. A long time.
Just like we were talking about that one person that can carry a team to. Evan Mobley is a piece. He would be a piece. I don't think Evan Mobley will be that guy that could just take a team, elevate a team to, the playoffs. For me, it's Jalen Green, guy. It's Jalen Green.
Green's very good. I like Green a lot.
Green, I think to me, I call him baby AI. I mean, he wasn't really efficient early on in the year, but he's been being a lot more efficient now. He's been taking better shots. I think the game is slowing down a little bit for him and everything, but I feel like he's a player that if he gets a hold of the game and starts flourishing, I think he's a 25 to 30 point scorer a night in the league.
No, I definitely agree with that.
I feel like he has the higher ceiling of all of them, just because.
He's an
elite scorer. He's an elite scorer.
I think Jalen Green has Harden level potential. With his scoring, I think he won't be as good of a rebounder or as good of a passer as Harden.
He'll never be the rebounder.
I think he has Harden level potential. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I would agree with Jalen Green there. I like what I've seen from Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Especially in college. I'm amazed no one said Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one said Scotty.
It'll come. But for me, if you can score, just like Cam, if Cam can get it together, because he's a bona fide scorer too. But for me, scorers like that, like elite scorers, just their ceiling
if you
is
come into the league
higher.
With elite scoring, chances are you're going to be successful in the league.
Yeah.
You know,
and for me with Jalen Green is he's a great player, but I feel like he's in a weird situation with the Rockets. Because
I don't know. I think that team's going to be scary good in a few years.
Yeah,
I think that team's going to be very good in the West in a few years. If Sengun pans out how he's looking like he's going to pan out, if Green pans out how he's looking how he's going to pan out, if Christopher pans out how he's looking like he's going to pan out, if KJ pans out, that Rockets team is going to be a fucking problem in the West.
KJ's been playing. They've been playing good lately too.
Yeah, that Rockets team, give it 2 or 3 more seasons, give them enough time to develop. By the time all those guys are 23, 24 years old, the Rockets are going to be a top team 3 in the Western Conference.
Yeah. Wood's going to be a piece, I think, from Wood's going to be a piece that they trade.
Yeah, I think they're going to trade Wood for more. I think they're going to trade Wood. Yeah, it's basically once they feel Sengun has developed well enough to be a regular everyday starter, at the very least, then that's when they're going to trade Christian Wood for whatever picks or youth or whatever. But no, I like what everyone said there.
Okay,
it's all good.
All right, now we're gonna go to the MVP, the NBA MVP. Who do we got as the league MVP?
Well, hold on. Before we do this, we have to define the term MVP. What is the league MVP? What is that? What is the criteria for that? What does that entail? We need a clear definition of that.
I don't know what I mean.
I would say for me, for someone to be the clear-cut MVP of the NBA, they don't necessarily have to be the most dominant player in the league, but they definitely have to be the best player on their team, and they have to be the type of player that puts their team in a position to be successful. You know, that's what I think. Like, I think because to me, like, you can be a stud, you can fucking drop 30 and 8 a night, but if you're on a losing team, you're not really. To me, that's just you just care about your numbers. You're not caring about success of the team. You know,
Westbrook, like a Westbrook.
Yeah, exactly, like a Westbrook. You know, whereas someone like. I mean, like me and Java were talking about this earlier, and I mean, we basically have the same consensus. I told him, I was like, I could see an argument being made for Ja. I can definitely see someone make an MVP, like a legitimate argument for MVP for Ja, and I can definitely see a legitimate argument be made for Jason Tatum. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but I could see an argument being made for Jason Tatum as an MVP.
The Boston
but
guy,
if I got to choose my MVP right now, I mean, I want to say Embiid. Like, my heart wants to say Embiid, but Embiid's always had Ben Simmons. Embiid is playing with Harden, you know, so that's kind of a knock to me. Whereas, like, I hate to do it, but I kind of got to give it to Jokic this year. And I'm not even a Jokic fan. Just what he's done with the Nuggets and how he's kept them afloat pretty much by himself, like, this year, because Gordon's been in and out of the lineup. So is Barton. He hasn't had his two best players other than himself and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. And he still has the Nuggets as a top 4 team in the Western Conference. Like, I think Jokic, you got to give the MVP to Jokic. Like, and I'm not even a Jokic fan.
Go ahead, Vaughn. Go ahead.
For every reason that Zach said, I'm gonna have to give it to Nikola Jokic, because there's nothing you can tell me that Nikola can't do. He could score the ball just as well. He could rebound the ball for big just as well as the best of them. He could play make at a high level, and we're talking about probably making him a top 5 playmaker as a big man. You could take out playmaking. He's still a great player, but his playmaking is what makes him a great player. Because the reason why the Nuggets are so good as a team right now without their best players, without Jamal, Michael Porter, is because Jokic could lead his team. He could get his team going. Yeah. Even when because I've seen nights where he's not scoring well, but he has like 18 rebounds. He'll have like 7 assists, and he can get Will Barton going. He can get Marcus Morris going. He can get Aaron
and he still contributes without the ball in his hand.
Yeah, Jokic's leadership. To me,
I mean, I would agree. I would agree. But since y'all two agree, I'm gonna make the case for Ja.
For Ja?
Ja.
I knew you were gonna make this
at the
case.
Memphis what? In the number 2 spot in the West.
2 or 3, yeah.
Thought Memphis at the beginning of this year, actually. Who would have thought that Memphis would be the number 2 seed?
I did.
And that's all Ja. So I mean,
I did.
He probably won't win it.
I thought they were going to be a top, at least maybe not the top 2 seed, but I thought they were going to be a top 4 seed, be a division winner.
Top 4, yeah.
I most certainly thought Memphis was going to be where they are. That team's just so good. That team's built so well. That team has so much young talent. That team's built so well from
the type
the 5
of player
all the way to
Ja
the 1. Like,
the type of player Ja is, I can see because like I was saying about Devin Booker, I think that has that killer instinct. I think if it came down to it in a series and they needed a bucket, Ja, is he's
I
gonna
don't.
take the shot. Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
oh yeah,
I mean, even in college, dude, when Ja was in college, he was the clear cut best player in the NCAA
oh yeah,
during his time in college. I mean, he
oh yeah.
brought Morgan State. Where did they get to in the tournament? Did they get to the Elite Eight? I know they made it to the Sweet 16, but did he get them to
They
the
made
Elite
it.
Eight?
I think they lost.
Yeah, I think they lost in the
Um,
Sweet 16, but still,
in
he
the
got
Sweet
into the final
16. Yeah,
16
yeah,
teams pretty much by
yeah.
himself because there was no
Oh
one
yeah,
else in that Morgan State team.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
At least no one like of NBA quality or anything. But yeah, no,
Ja's one of those scary players that a team does not want to see in the playoffs. I'm telling you. Memphis they don't want to see Memphis in the playoffs.
now here's one thing I will say about Ja. Ja is a better defensive player than he gets credit for.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of people
yeah.
knock Ja for his defense, but he's actually a lot better on defense than people realize,
So
especially
we
in the
don't.
perimeter.
So we all picking Jokic pretty much over Embiid, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the knock on Embiid for me, like Embiid's great. I love Embiid, one of my favorite players in the league. But like I said, he's had Ben Simmons, he's had James Harden. I get he hasn't had Ben Simmons most of this year, but still, like I don't know, he's got. I think what Jokic has done in Denver this season with the little that he's had is to me just gives him the edge over Embiid because Embiid still had guys like Danny Green, Tobias Harris, you know, he still had Andre Drummond. Even he still had some talent with him, whereas Jokic basically had no talent for most of this year, like you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I give the edge to Jokic over Embiid.
All right. All right. So any last thoughts, Javon?
Honestly, you want to talk Embiid versus Jokic? They just played a game and Jokic came out on top.
I seen that game. I actually watched that game. That was last night, right?
I watched Embiid and Jokic go back to each other, and Jokic just had the upper hand all night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was last night.
I mean,
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think when Embiid wants to be, he's the best basketball player on the earth. When he wants to be. The problem is when he wants to be. You know? It's like like Lamar Odom was that way too. Lamar Odom was a superstar when he wanted to be.
Lamar Odom. He was. Oh my god.
He just never wanted to be a superstar consistently. Yeah. But the thing about Odom, especially if you watched those 08 finals with the Celtics and Lakers, there were a couple games where Lamar Odom in those finals where Kobe wasn't doing, where the Celtics had locked down Kobe, they had locked down Powell. So the only player the Lakers had left was Odom, and Odom carried them through a couple games. Like, you know, Lamar had that super. He's the same as Embiid. When he wanted to be, he was, one of the top dogs. But the question is, when does he want to be that?
Yeah, that's true. But me personally, I would say that if I had to take one of those two guys, I would take Embiid. Just for the simple fact that Embiid, to me, has better post moves. Both of them can shoot the three. But Embiid, he has better post moves. And I think Embiid handle is better than Jokic is. Even though Jokic, he's a better passer. Jokic is a better passer. Don't get me wrong. He's a better passer. But I think Embiid, as far as scoring, just like one-on-one getting his shot out, I think Embiid is better than Jokic.
Yeah, but I think in terms of MVP, like to me at least, like I put like Jokic to me, just he does more. He does more for his team than Embiid does. Jokic to me does more for the success of the Denver Nuggets than Joel Embiid does for the 76ers. And that's that's why you got to I feel you got to put Jokic ahead of Embiid. And I hate saying Jokic because I'm not a Jokic fan. I don't like Nikola Jokic, but I got to give credit where credit's due.
All right. All right, guys. I think we done hit everything that we were supposed to cover today. I can't hear you, Javon. What was that?
I say, yeah, I think that's all the topics.
Yeah, I think we hit everything today, guys. Yeah, I think that was a good. Hey, that was a good starter show, guys. All right.
For sure.
We're the Dynasty. Actually, we're the Dynasty Show. We're the Dynasty Show. That Javon, he had to leave, and our girl Marianne behind the scenes.
I'm Javon, everyone. I'm Javon, just so you know.
All right, guys. Hey, hit us up on what we got. Twitter.
We got Twitter.
Instagram,
We got IG. We're gonna get on all those little social platforms.
We just starting out, guys. So check us out. All right. See you later.
All right.
Rock, that on the track, boy.